Hello, Wisdom and Wellness family. Welcome to another episode. And once again, we are talking about our skin. I know we spoke about it the last time and how it impacts us. So this time, I've got some experts who are going to share with us some tricks, some tips, also debunk some things that we might have taken from TikTok. We love TikTok, no shade to TikTok, but there's a whole lot of things that we adapt and we take. So today, I thought, let us have a conversation with some incredible doctors and learn the real feelings, thoughts, and ideas that we should have with our skin. Most importantly, realistically. I think social media has done quite a job in us having unrealistic expectations and ideas on how our skin's supposed to be, how we're supposed to feel, and so much more. So I'm gonna let our incredible girlfriends, these are my girlfriends, they're gonna introduce themselves. We'll start with you, Dr. Tara.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm Taryn Jacobs. I'm a dermatologist and I'm based in private practice in Pretoria.
Nice to meet you.
I am Dr. Vezegile Dladla. You can call me Veve.
Bebe.
Yes, I'm a scientist. I work on Dove products for Unilever, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm Dr. Dudu Khwebane. I am a dentist by profession, but I'm also a skincare content creator and wellness. So, yeah.
Welcome, ladies. I must give a disclaimer. I did ask for permission to not call them doctor. Please, I'm not disrespecting anyone here, but because we want to keep things relaxed, I'm going to start with icebreakers. So we're going to go around and then I'm going to come back and around. Okay, just a few. Okay, your get up and go song.
Oh my goodness. That is really putting me on the spot.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm very big into salsa music.
Okay,
And
really?
and dancing as
Okay.
well in my free time. So
Yeah.
it's going to be salsa, like all Spanish.
All Spanish.
Anything salsa.
Why? Is there like a connection with your family or it's just...
There is not actually. Like
Okay.
I'm born and bred South African, but it is definitely a hobby, and dancing has just been a passion of mine since I was like 4 years old.
Okay. If you no longer had to sleep, right? Like let's say they said sleep is just unnecessary. What would you do with those extra 8 hours?
Hopefully, I'd be able to catch up on Netflix.
Okay.
Just like a normal person, you know?
Catch up on Netflix. Are you a series lover or movie lover?
Series.
Series.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll tell you one thing. Sometimes I don't like series because I feel like I have to be so committed.
Yes.
Whereas with the movie, I can just watch it and then I'm
And then
done,
go.
you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Move on to another chapter. Then I've definitely learned something.
Yeah.
It feels holistic.
Yeah. But I find with movies now, like I can't finish a movie in one sitting. I don't know if it's like short format stuff that's ruined us or like the series, but I'll like watch a movie like in intervals. Okay. Favorite emoji or meme to use when texting?
There's this, it's a video
Okay.
from Real Housewives of Atlanta, Marlo, where she had a long day and then she's like, she has like a glass of wine and going to her bed and says, "Oh, today drained me." That's my favorite meme.
Okay. Love it. Most interesting thing you've learned recently?
So, well, I was in Paris and so I've learned that, well, even fancy cities like Paris can get bed bugs.
Oh, yeah.
First-hand experience.
Did you have experience?
Yeah, that was last month.
Oh, my.
So, I mean, something unexpected, but, you know, people have issues everywhere, right? Grass isn't always greener.
Yeah. Oh, geez, we were there, but we for the World Cup, but the whole case on the bed bugs, like literally, I think broke out like a week after we came back.
Afterwards?
So yeah, so
You're lucky.
either we didn't experience it or we didn't know that we experiencing.
Right.
like,
So I think we went as a group of derms. So we were all kind of like knowing what to look out for
Yeah.
and very,
You'll find everything. Okay, if you had to sit next to someone in a plane, someone who inspires you, or someone you admire, who would it be? And what would you say? Would you talk to them or would you just be like, give them their space?
I'd love to sit next to Oprah Winfrey.
Oh my gosh, everybody wants to sit next to Oprah.
I'm a word.
Dudu, what's the first thing you do when you wake up?
First thing I do when I wake up is pray.
Okay. Really? Don't touch your phone like you're a Jesus girl through and through. Like you wake up and you
I'm
pray.
like, oh my God. Before I even open my eyes, I'm like, you know when you like wake up but you
Yeah.
haven't really, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
And then afterwards?
And then after that, I go grab a cup of coffee while my little one is still sleeping and just try to have like
A moment.
of solitude.
When do you touch your phone?
maybe when after I've had my like while I'm having my coffee, that's
Okay.
when I like
So you're disciplined.
Yeah, no, I'm not. You would assume I'm big on like I'm on my
Yeah.
phone quite a lot, but I'm actually really
Like a disciplined girly.
I try.
All right. I have a question I would love all of you to answer, and that is, how did you guys, and you're all doctors, you're a dermatologist, scientist, and dentist, right? But how did you end up in the skin and beauty industry specifically? Like, what about your childhood or the person that you've become inspired you to go into that field?
So with dermatology, you first have to do medicine.
Yeah.
And I think someone who really inspired me was my dad. And it was just, he worked really long hours, but I could see that it was a really rewarding profession because like the difference he would make in people's lives. So that's what inspired me to get into medicine. And with dermatology, also similar. I also grew up with acne. I wish my parents took me to a dermatologist in the teen years. And so I really had firsthand experience of like how skin can affect you, low self-esteem and anxiety. And so I knew that I wanted to somehow help people who are experiencing that. And when, you start going through clinics and you can see that people with visible skin conditions are experiencing the same thing and more, then it really solidified that choice to specialize.
Funny enough, I wanted to be a dermatologist when I was like 10. I didn't know don't get excited. I didn't know what a dermatologist is. I just liked how to say the word. Dermatologist. So I just go around saying, I'm going to be a dermatologist. I'm going to be a dermatologist. But you shared something so interesting that as a child, you wished someone would have taken you to a dermatologist for your skin. At what age should parents start considering that? Because I think kids are breaking out a little earlier than usual now. Yeah.
So I think at any age, if you really just want some good advice, even just what products to use.
Yeah.
So even if it's not severe or moderate acne, just for some advice, what should you be using? But definitely if you've seen that you have been using skincare products and it's not getting better, or if it's affecting your teenager's mood, like we know it can, then I think it's important to seek help.
Yeah.
And seek help early.
Yeah, I love that you said it doesn't even have to be dramatic or drastic. you know?
Just initial consultation.
Bebe, how did you get into the beauty industry?
Wow, it's a tricky one for me because for a scientist, it's something that you would never imagine, right? So I fell in love with chemistry at a very young age.
Yeah.
So my elder sister would come back home learning her homework, studying the periodic table.
Yeah.
So by the age of 10, I already knew the first 20 elements of the periodic table, not knowing what that means for me, So my father would have these nice magazines that have beautiful ladies like you, of course, on the cover. And I could see myself in them,
Yeah.
All right. I still didn't know that a career like the one I have existed. So all I did was to study, do the best in all way possible, use all the opportunities that are available to me. So then by grade 10, when it was time to decide what you want to study, it was so easy for me because chemistry, it was like my first language, if I can put it like that.
Sure.
So then I really fell in love with science from a very young age. So it just never stopped. And I was introduced to research because we do a lot of research, right? I was doing my third year in undergrad. I got this opportunity to go do research in America.
Sure.
That was my first time in the airport, guys. My first time seeing a flight. That's how I was introduced to research.
Wow.
And then I started learning more. When I came back, that's when I decided I want to do my honors, I want to do my master's, and then PhD.
Sure.
So fortunately, I had an opportunity to join a company like Unilever.
When you picked up the periodic table, and I'm trying to think of it. My first time I went into a science class because I picked it as a subject.
Yeah.
And then I went to the class. I slept throughout the whole period. And my teacher was very frustrated at me. And then after that, I never went back. Like I changed my subject. So I've got like mad respect for you. But when you picked up that periodic table, did you ever think like this, like you said, it was your first time on a flight. Did you think it would take you where it's taken you in your career and even in the spaces that you're in?
Honestly, I had no idea. Honestly, I have no idea. I'd be lying to you.
Sure.
I had no idea.
Yeah. How did you get in skin and beauty?
Phew. Where do I start? Because it's very weird. Dentist,
Yeah,
skin and
like-
beauty. So I've always loved skincare. Growing up, my grandmother, my mother, I just grew up with women that would always take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And like skincare was just our thing, you
Sure.
know? And I've always loved skincare. So whenever I was at school, like in res, whatever, yes, I'm studying this degree, but I also had this little passion
Yeah.
for like skincare, which I didn't really share with the world, with anyone. Just my family knew that, oh my gosh, she's like so,
She likes things.
she
things.
likes things, this one, creams, body lotions, this and that. And I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, obviously, and getting into like knowing my skincare ingredients. I was also still obsessed with like what I put on my skin, you know, because I'd always be like, we always take care of our organs, our hearts. You're gonna do this and this for your liver, but our biggest organ.
Yeah, like what goes
You
there?
know?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I would literally sit in my res room during study breaks, whatever. I would watch YouTube, and then got into Instagram.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of beauty content creators, but I realized I'm like, everybody's doing makeup.
Yeah.
There's literally no one that's doing skincare. There is no one that is kind of giving that little bit of information
Yeah.
about skincare,
Skincare,
you
yeah.
know, like the basics, how to maybe like formulate just the basic skincare routine, order of application,
Yeah.
which is something that a lot of people still get wrong,
Yeah.
you know, and just, I don't know, encouraging people to do research on this, like what you're putting
What
on
you're
your
putting
skin,
in,
you know,
yeah.
doesn't mean if I'm recommending something, if I'm like, I like 1, 2, 3, that it's going to work for you. So there are a lot of things that, and I also had to learn that the hard way, because in the beginning of my love for skincare, adopting things from my mother and whatever, and my grandmother, I would like get similar products to them. And then I realized later on that I actually have eczema.
Sure.
So certain products
Not
wouldn't
for
work.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that kind of also fueled my love for knowing and learning and understanding. And I wanted to share that with other people, because I was like, there's actually a lot of beauty content creation,
Yeah.
but it's mostly makeup.
Makeup, yeah. Did you ever see it as a career? Like when you were interacting with your family and in res, did you ever see it as a career, or it was just one of those things that, I just love this and I'm just going to invest myself in this?
I never saw it as a career, because when I did start creating skincare content, I mean, they weren't doing like skinfluencers and all of that. So for me, it was just, I'm sharing
Let me just share
with my
knowledge, yeah.
community. And people would ask me, oh my gosh, why are you so obsessed with sunscreen? And I'm like, well, girl,
Got pigmentation.
you know?
Yeah.
So for me, it was just like, I'm just sharing.
It happened naturally, yeah.
It literally happened naturally. Yeah.
There's obviously a whole idea of how your skin is supposed to look, healthy and glowy skin. And there's an image that we all like see on Instagram when we think of that. But how, and I want you to define it for us. What is healthy and good skin according to realistic standards?
So healthy skin, first of all, I think healthy skin is really important. That's why we're all talking about it.
Yeah.
And so, the more you have a health, the richer you are. And I think it's so important because the skin has very important physiological roles. So you can think of the skin like a 24/7 security guard, keeping out the outside world, because it protects you from external things like bacteria and infection and chemicals and mechanical damage
big
and
role.
UV rays.
Yeah.
Right. So it is. So from a dermatological perspective, I would say that healthy skin is free from disease. That's just the definition of health, or at least you have a skin condition sort of under control.
Yeah.
From appearance point of view, it is well exfoliated, so smooth in texture, well hydrated. And then it goes back to the skin barrier. I think it's synonymous with having a healthy and well-functioning skin barrier.
Yeah.
So from definition point of view, that's what it is.
So if I have a breakout, and I mean, I think I get quite a lot of comments, and I've had like pigmentation, quite bad skin, but for the most part, it's genetically good, right? And I get a lot of comments of, oh, your skin is so like your skin. And I sometimes wonder if I showed my skin when I have like a bit of a breakout on the side here, and it's not as smooth as sometimes looks on picture, even though you don't have a filter, but sometimes a picture just gives a different look. Does that make my skin unhealthy, or we have an unhealthy view of how skin's supposed to look?
I think that, we spoke about it a bit with social media, the use of filters.
Yeah.
I think we all have this perception that healthy skin is perfect.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yes.
Because there's no such thing as perfect skin.
Yeah.
Skin has texture. It has pores. It's not just flat filtered
Flat,
out like that.
Yeah.
Sunspots are normal as we age, and pigmentation to some extent as well. So
Yeah.
I think we shouldn't think of it as perfect skin. You should try and think of it like, what is your skin barrier doing? And it's going to fluctuate.
Yeah.
We all going to have good and bad skin days, but I like that. Show real skin, right?
like
We need
we're
more of
people.
that
we're
on
people.
social media.
But I love
Exactly.
that you said that there's a difference between healthy skin and perfect skin. Perfect skin's only achievable like through a filter and face.
Unless
and
you've
makeup.
won the genetic lottery.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know,
like,
Judy,
yeah,
I think has beautiful
genetically.
skin.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll come to you now.
Bebe, as a research and development specialist, you obviously evaluate, test, and work with product, right?
Yes.
Why this field of work, and how has it impacted your own life and your use of products and all types of products?
So we believe a lot in our consumers, especially in Dove, and that is common with most Unilever brand. We develop, we co-create with our consumers. So it's very important for me to make sure that it is what is needed by the consumer. So being able to translate my scientific understanding to what a consumer needs, to satisfy your needs as a consumer is very important to me.
Yeah.
I am a mom, so formulating products for me, it's not about business. It's making something that really solves or talks to consumer needs.
Yeah.
So I use the very same products that I test in the lab for my kids as well, because I trust them, I believe them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to even talk about them if I know that they wouldn't work.
Dudu, you are the girl when it comes to skin ingredients, and your audience really, really trusts you. How did you develop that trust with your audience, and how did you make sure that you keep it? For example, like you said, for you might recommend a product, and because you work with brands, like you might recommend a product from a brand and it works with you, and then for someone else, it doesn't work. Like, how do you navigate that and them coming back and say, you said this about this product and this is what happened?
First of all, my audience know, and I always emphasize, I'm like, I know my skin type, and it's also very important for people to know their skin types. For example, I won't dabble with, if let's say I have dry skin.
Yeah.
I have dry skin, sometimes sensitive, very seasonal though, like usually around winter, so it gets a little bit sensitive. So I always emphasize
Your skin type.
Yeah. Always emphasize that certain products that I use won't work for somebody with oily skin.
Yeah.
And then I would always always emphasize reading ingredients.
Guys, the truth is I'm not trying to read ingredients. So I need you to make this easy
even
for
when
me.
let's say I'm talking about a specific product, right? I will say, okay, this is for dry skin.
Yeah.
The ingredients are hyaluronic acid or whatever. There's certain, like hyaluronic acid works for all skin types.
It's been a trend for the last year or two.
So you'll know that, okay, hyaluronic acid would work for a lot of skin types. I don't really use like salicylic acid, So that's why like just knowing, guys. Like I don't know,
educating.
The reading and the knowing. So I think I've built that relationship with my followers, that they kind of know that Dudu's gonna be like, if like, oh, I bought this and this, but I'm like, okay, what's your
skin type?
Okay. What is your skin concern or whatever. So I'm always very big on read.
Yeah.
Know your skin type.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I think that's how
Makes sense.
Very nice.
Taryn, tell me, what are some misconceptions on skin and products? I think, is there skin talk? I know there's
Yes,
book
there
talk,
is.
right? There's book
There's
talk.
definitely skin
There's
talk.
skin talk. So
Yeah.
when you go on like your skin
Yeah.
talk and you see some of the work we do as content creators, what are some misconceptions that you definitely want to say, guys, stop it. This is not the way.
Ooh, okay. Well, first of all, I'll say I really enjoy, different kinds of content
Yeah.
on TikTok and Instagram. The skin influencers, these content creators, they're really doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do see that patients get a little bit swayed the wrong way. So one of the things I see is maybe overcomplicated skincare routines because you see something on Instagram and it's a bit of FOMO, a new product.
8-step.
8 steps. We don't need, a 10-step or 8-step skincare routine. We don't need to be using all these things and following the viral trends. So what I advise is that, everyone's unique. Like Dudu was saying, like what may work for you may not work for me. So just focus on yourself and your needs.
Yeah.
And so, keep it simple sometimes. We don't need to use everything because what we're seeing in the recent years is that we're using more products, more at-home devices, more ingredients than ever before.
Yeah.
And the result is like really sensitized skin.
Sure.
Wow.
So we do need to be a bit more scrupulous
Yeah.
with what with what you're consuming and what you're taking on. And then I think the other thing I'd say is that you don't also need the most expensive skincare products. Luxury, high-end products are not necessarily going to be better.
I feel like when you spend more money, you feel like you're going to get like better results.
So there is this notion that
Yeah.
if it's very expensive, then it must be better. But the price tag attached to a high-end luxury product doesn't ensure that it's better.
Okay.
You can get really good affordable products. You get really good expensive products.
Yeah.
And if it's giving you that kind of feel-good me time, self-care time, then, go ahead. As long as you're not hoping to try and solve some underlying medical problem with that. But I think don't fall into that trap. And it goes back to reading ingredients and just doing a bit of homework, figuring out what works for your skin concern.
Yeah.
But it's also got to do with the formulation, right? It's not just that ingredient list, it's how it's formulated and concentrations. And so you do want to maybe go for reputable brands when it comes to brands that do testing on their final formulations.
Sure. And I want to go back to now insecurity. And I want to speak to all three of you when it comes to insecurity. I know a lot of people experience insecurity with their skin. And I did mention that I struggled with pigmentation when it came to my skin. And it's as if when you're in that space, like you forget everything and you just want to try everything and you just want to make it like a go away instantly. So how have you guys ever dealt with insecurity? I know you mentioned as a teenager, and how did you move through that? Does it still affect you, or you managed to come out of it as like, okay, cool, I made it out, I'm okay?
I think, personally, I mean, we all have our skin concerns, right? No one, like we said, no one has perfect skin. I'm acne prone and I keep it very well under control with medication.
Sure.
But
so even
with
now,
my own, because, adult female acne is really common. And, genetics or hormones are always there.
Yeah.
And it is a bit chronic, to be honest with you. So you always need to have a bit of maintenance there, but you get the odd occasional pimple.
Yeah.
And you learn to kind of manage things, find what works for you.
Yeah.
And also don't be afraid to seek help. If it's something that is really bothering you and you're just not winning with a skincare range, then that's why we have professionals to help.
Yeah.
So that, if it's affecting your mood, then rather seek help early.
Yeah. And have you ever struggled with any insecurity? And it doesn't necessarily have to be about skin, but just overall as a person, and how have you come through it?
I've had skin insecurities. For one, I think a lot of people, whenever anybody speaks about a skin insecurity, it would automatically be maybe acne. And I mean, there are other skincare issues. Like I said, I struggle with eczema badly. Like I used to, maybe like one half of the year, my skin is so good, nice, and then
winter.
Boop, then I'd get like eczema on my neck and all of that, and extreme dehydration like on my forehead, which I'd always try to hide with makeup. And that is actually like the worst, because I feel like makeup just makes it look more
Takes everything, drains everything. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so once I started learning about, okay, you know, I'd obviously get my prescription medication to like deal with the eczema and stuff, but I was like, I need like somehow a long-term solution, because then I know this usually happens at a certain time of the year, that I can somehow like prepare my
now
skin.
You know what to expect.
You know, I know what to expect and all of that. And then, but I think it didn't really like stop me from, once I got to that phase, I'm like, okay, I need to stop like trying to cover this up with makeup or putting a scarf or like wearing long sleeves or whatever in like the heat. You know, I just got to a point where I was like,
was it at a point where you would wear like long
stuff? I used to like in the heat. I used to like wear and like long, because I'd always get my eczema like here,
over here and behind the knees,
and then my neck as well, and it was bad. So I got to a point where I was like, I need to stop actually hiding, because also I think when you apply or when you wear, it agitates. You know, so then it would take longer to heal and all that. So I was like, I need to kind of get to a point where it is what it is, you know. This happens to me, and I mean, people would be like, why are you ashy, or like,
what's going on? Wow.
You know, you normally have like, did you eat something that I'm like, no,
I'll be fine.
So I got to a point where I was just like, you know what, it is what it is. These things happen, and I somehow figured out a way to manage or prepare my skin. That's when I also got into like the habit of changing my, you know, skincare products, because I used to use like the same skincare products
the whole year. Yes.
And I was like, but with my dry skin, I'm doing my skin an injustice, because in winter it gets really bad. Like my skin gets extremely
I know, because my son's got eczema, and it was such a big but he's like 3, right? And it was such a frustration. But his is not itchy, luckily. But it would like look really dry. And I met a lady, and she's on YouTube. I just forgot her name, and she talks about I think she's got over 99 allergies or something. I'm sure you guys have seen her on YouTube. She just has allergies for days, right? Her skin breaks out. And so I met her at an event, and I started talking to her, and I said, for my son, what should I do with it? And he said, she said to me, actually do nothing. Just make sure you moisturize it, but don't fuss about it, because for him, it doesn't matter. And she said, I think if my parents didn't fuss that much about my skin and don't eat this and do, like, I'd be better off. And from there I learned that actually it affect right now for him, because it's not itchy. It affects me more as an adult, because I care, but for him, he's absolutely fine. And I want to talk about diets and things like stress, and how do those affect our skin.
We've spoken about it, how I think we can all relate to how stress can exacerbate and flare up certain skin conditions. And it's something that we really do see with chronic inflammatory skin conditions, so things like acne and atopic eczema, as well as psoriasis and rosacea. So we know now with research there is this brain-skin axis. So there's a connection, a bidirectional pathway between the brain and the skin. And so the skin is very susceptible to things like the hormones of cortisol and adrenaline. So we do see that. So for me to really maintain healthy skin, I always talk about in clinic the 4 S's, right? So that is sleep. So this is a holistic thing. So it's sleep, it's sweat, it's exercise, it's sustenance, food, right? And then skincare, we touched a little bit on it. So when it comes to diet and food, there's no magic fix. It's really the best diet is the diet that's also good for your general health. And so I'm a firm believer in kind of like beauty from the inside out. It goes without saying that what you're putting inside your body should have the same care as what we're doing on the outside, right? So the best thing is just to eat the rainbow, colorful diet, rich in antioxidants and nutrients and minerals, because these are the things that we need for the biochemical processes in the skin. I think we should also be mindful of sugar intake, because we see that sugar, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but we see that sugar can ramp up inflammation. It can trigger breakouts for some people. It can also trigger something colloquially, we call it sugar sag. I don't know if you've come across this term, but it's basically where excessive amounts of sugar, taking that in, can cause a process which we call glycation. So the sugar binds to proteins like collagen and elastin, which is not good because it can cause premature skin aging. So I also think that everything in moderation, right? Have your treat now and again,
Not every day.
Now and again, don't punish yourself.
Yeah.
But we should be mindful of sugar. And like in my own fridge, I'll always have my favorites. I always stock things like leafy greens and tomatoes for lycopene and blueberries for antioxidants. And carrots, vitamin A, and oily fish and that kind of thing. And like I share a lot of that on social media and my recipes, and I call it skin food because that's so satisfying,
food.
right?
Love that,
You're eating for your
like
skin
you know
health.
exactly what the outcome will be.
It's motivating in a way.
And I want to can I expose your age?
You are welcome. I own it.
Well, you're turning 40 and you look like, I feel like you look like our age, like 30s. And has that been well, genetics count, but how have you managed to take care of yourself? Is it the food? Is mostly the food? Is it the 4 S's? Like that's your Bible.
That is so interesting because I don't feel like I'm turning 40. Like I'm also like, wow, I'm turning 40.
Yeah, like you're young,
you know,
inside.
I feel like I'm 29.
Sure.
You know, I'm
That makes sense. You do give like
I
29
feel like
year old
I'm that
vibes.
cool, you know. Yeah. So I'm turning 40 soon. And I haven't been a dermatologist forever. I've been a derm for about 5 years. I've worked in dermatology for almost 10 years now. And then you pick up, obviously, everything.
Yeah.
But beforehand, I was out there in the sun with no sunscreen. Please remember, we didn't have Instagram.
Yeah.
No, you know, we didn't have wonderful content creators telling us to, or dermatologists on Instagram telling us to use our sunscreen. So a lot of the things came later. And I think also what to realize is it's never too late.
Sure.
Right? It's
That's
never too late to take care of yourself.
That's so freeing because I feel like a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm like 35 now. It's too late. But it's like, it's never too late to clean up our diet, sleep, use our sunscreen, which is obviously very important, and just transform our lives and just feel young in and out. Dr. Viv, I'm going to come to you. You work obviously on Dove, and I think I can remember when the beauty bar, the Dove beauty bar was introduced to me. Like, I think I was becoming like a teenager and I required something a little fancier, and then I got my beauty bar, and I feel like it's such a generational bar. Why do you think it's so iconic and it's standing the test of time?
When we say the Dove Beauty Bar with the cotton moisturizing cream, we really mean that.
Yeah.
Because firstly, Dove Beauty Bar is not a soap, right? And I might have confused all of you here. So a soap is different. So we have cleansers, right? And then on cleansers, we can either have a soap or synthetic detergents, of which Dove falls under.
Okay.
So in short, you can call it a Syndet bar,
Okay.
right? So that's why we don't call it a soap.
Okay.
It is made using a completely different process from making an ordinary soap. We've tested everything possible, and we have proof to show you that it behaves differently from soap.
Yeah.
Right? A normal soap would strip your skin off.
Yeah.
Right? It's essential oils. Whereas the Dove bar, because it has that signature cotton moisturizing cream, right?
Yeah.
Once it cleanses your skin, it also nourishes it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And that's what you really need during cleansing, because you don't want to irritate
Your
the
skin.
microorganisms that take care of your skin. You may have had some people having gone to see a dermatologist or a public clinic, and then what they get for their children is an aqueous cream, right?
Yes.
So then the nurses would tell you, please go home and bath your child with this aqueous cream.
Yeah.
Then people wouldn't really understand why that's the case. It's because it's very important to moisturize
lock it in.
whilst you cleanse.
Yes. I mean,
So
that's what I
Dove
use for
delivers just that.
my son as well. I use the aqueous cream. Like I said, he's got
Yes, eczema.
Right. Yeah.
So Dove cleansers are very gentle. And in addition to that, it deposits that cream, that cotton moisturizing cream whilst you bathing.
Instead of taking away.
Correct, yeah.
And Dudu, my last question to you is, how do you select your products, and what are key ingredients that you will always look out for and that you encourage us? And I know we've got different skin types, but that you would encourage the average person to always look out for.
What I always look for when it comes to selecting my skincare products, hyaluronic acid. I love hyaluronic acid.
She's the girl.
I can't stress this enough. And I also love the fact that a lot of body care products now have hyaluronic acid, because I think it used to just be more facial.
Yeah, that's all we focused on. It was all just about here from the neck.
It used to be like more, and I also love that the fact that now Dove has like this wide selection of the triple moisture body washes, which are like super moisturizing as well. And I know that I can just literally hop into the shower, pop out, and don't feel the urge
dryness,
to like apply my lotion now, feel like my skin has been stripped. So hyaluronic acid for me is key. I love ceramides as well. I feel like ceramides are
wow.
Yeah.
You're the girl.
They really are the girl. So I always
are.
try to focus on products that I know would maintain my help my skin maintain a good skincare barrier.
Yeah.
Ceramides, I love aloe vera for like cooling.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So our
love aloe
mothers were
vera.
not wrong about aloe
No,
vera. Okay.
I feel like aloe vera is such a lovely ingredient.
Yeah.
Especially like when I read my products, I'm literally that person and I'm in like
Where's my aloe
drugs,
vera?
so I'm like, okay,
Where'd you put
hyaluronic
it?
check. And glycerin as well.
Yeah.
Glycerin is also quite really good. So those are like my go-to. So I'm really all about hydration, moisture.
Love it. Okay, ladies, so we're gonna go to my wall of wisdom, and I'm gonna ask it, and then all three of you are gonna answer. It can be nice and short. A quote that you live by.
What's meant for you will never miss you.
I love that. What's meant for you will
Will
never
miss you. Yeah, I think that's like my
Beautiful quote.
I can do all things through Christ.
Who strengthens me.
It is a Bible verse,
Yeah.
for sure, but wow, I can really do things through Christ.
Love it.
No, it's going to give away my hustle culture, but
Okay.
dreams don't work unless you do.
We need a balance, okay? We need a balance of things are meant for you and you do all things through Christ, and also you need to work it, okay? Okay, this is my last question. I'm gonna ask you guys to just fill in the words.
Okay.
My skin is.
My skin is free.
Wow, my skin is free. Love it.
Free from expectations.
Sure. My skin is
Just
free.
acceptance. Or now it's more words than what you needed. But you know where I'm getting with this.
Sure.
My skin is resilient.
Did you?
It's probably very random. My skin is juicy.
I definitely look at you.
I literally have moments
I agree.
where I'm like, when you touch yourself and
it's
just
so
like,
juicy.
oh, like I'm like, yeah, girl, it's juicy.
No, but that's different. Like I look at your skin and I think that is some juicy skin. That is some juicy skin. But thank you so much, ladies. And I'm gonna leave you. You guys can give me some closing words. Like if there's like one thing you want to leave with everybody regarding their skin and just taking care of themselves.
I feel like you invited me here as a dermatologist and I didn't talk enough about sunscreen, right?
Yeah.
So let me have my moments before I leave. No, it's just, that's the number one thing.
Yeah.
And it's the number one thing for all skin types and
Yeah.
all skin tones. I think that, and studies show that people tend to think that it's not for everyone. It's if you could bottle like an elixir of anti-aging, like the fountain of youth, right? It would be sunscreen because 80% of aging, and we all want to just maintain what we have, 80% is from the sun.
The sun, sure.
So from that perspective, from a skin cancer perspective, yes, it's probably more in lighter skin types. It doesn't mean that darker skin types can't get skin cancer because skin cancer doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
But when it comes to darker skin types, we know that melanin is a bit more like sun protective. So you've got a bit more protection, like from my olive tone and upwards, right? But it's also the hyperpigmentation that we're more predisposed to getting. And so sunscreen becomes very important for skin health to prevent, because the sun can trigger it, it can exacerbate pigmentation. So from that perspective of skin health, it's very good to prevent with sunscreen.
I love what you said. The fountain of youth.
That's it. It's my preaching.
Yes.
Wow.
Dr. V, closing words.
Closing words. Let's empower ourselves.
Okay.
So my purpose is to help people realize the better version of themselves.
Yeah.
Simple things like realizing that, my body wash contains the triple moisture serum. Then you dig deeper. What does that really mean? So let's empower ourselves. We are beautiful. We are smart.
Yes.
We know a whole lot of ingredients and we always have help available to us, accessible. I understand your time is money, but a dermatologist really changed my life. You know, so let's really empower ourselves. Read a bit more about the products that we are using. And we'll all still stay beautiful as we are.
Yeah. Love it. Did you closing words?
I was literally going to say the same thing about
Wow.
reading. No, literally. Like the fact that, you know what, people need to, we need to start literally reading our ingredients. You always do your research. If maybe somebody puts out something up like that you have to ingest, you really like research. Is it safe for me? Whatever. We also need to take the time out to read our product ingredients, even whatever content creators put out there, like it's not
research.
Like skincare is not a one size fits all. You need to do your research and figure out, could this possibly work for me? If I have acne prone skin, oily skin, could this work? If I have sensitive skin, all of that, I mean, content creators, we're literally gonna put out like a lot of stuff out there, whatever.
Educate yourself.
Yeah, I think educate yourself, nitpick, and also sunscreen.
I think that's one thing that I've been picking up from this conversation.
Yes.
We need to remember that we all have different skin and they're all beautiful. So
embrace
not
your
the same
skin.
products that will work for her to keep hair looking this young will work for me. So embrace your skin.
Yeah. I think so too. I think we all want to have this specific type of skin, and it's just not possible. And I think the sooner we love and accept who we are, what I had is it Lashal? Yeah, Lashal, who was talking about comparisons, and she was saying, I'm never gonna have Naomi Campbell legs because her legs are long and mine are short, and so I have to work with what I've got. And I think the same is true for even our skin. Like we need to love and appreciate what we have, and then when we put and buy products, it's from a place of love. Like I'm taking care of my skin because I love it and I appreciate it, not because I'm trying to change it.
And health over perfection.
Yes, and health over perfection. Perfection is only found on filters and photo albums. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you for educating us, and thank you so much to Dove for impacting us and having these important conversations that help us to just do better. And that is a wrap.